Grover Cleveland and the Democrats in 1893 is one of economic catastrophe and a deeply controversial response that critics denounced as callous, pro-capitalist, and politically manipulative. Cleveland began his second non-consecutive term in March, and within weeks, the nation was plunged into the panic of 1893, the worst depression it had seen. Cleveland, a conservative, bourbon Democrat, immediately identified the root cause of the financial crisis as the Sherman Silver Purchase Act of 1890, passed by the previous Republican administration. This law required the government to buy millions of ounces of silver monthly, which Cleveland argued was depleting the national gold reserves and creating economic uncertainty. Calling an emergency session of Congress, he aggressively pushed for the repeal of the act. This action was highly manipulative, as he forced the measure through despite intense opposition from the agrarian and Western wings of his own Democratic Party, who favored free silver as a way to inflate the currency and ease the debt burden on farmers and workers. The successful repeal in October 1893 was seen as a betrayal, cementing his image as an agent of the wealthy Northeastern financial elite, the gold bugs, at the expense of the suffering masses. Compounding this perceived unethical preference for big business, Cleveland and the Democratic Party adhered to a rigid philosophy of government non-intervention in the economy. Amidst soaring unemployment and widespread destitution, the administration insisted the federal government had no role in providing relief or public works to help the poor. This negative stance was soon underscored by his willingness to use federal power against the working class. While not in 1893, his 1894 decision to send troops to break up Coxey's army of unemployed protesters, and later the Pullman strike, demonstrated a prejudicial willingness to deploy force against labor while remaining passive toward the financial interests that critics believed caused the crisis. Finally, while Cleveland was personally praised for a rare ethical action, withdrawing the treaty to annex Hawaii, after learning the monarchy was overthrown by American businessmen, the Democratic Party's national power base remained inextricably linked to the racist policies of the South. Cleveland's hands-off approach to the intensifying Jim Crow laws and voter suppression allowed deep-seated prejudice to flourish, defining an era of profound negative consequences for African Americans and consolidating a political machine built on racial exclusion.